Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights.
In this video, we are going to discuss about the most frequently asked questions in Databricks Associate Engineer Examination. This is in continuation of Databricks certification playlist. In the previous video, I explained about the exam overview and its syllabus. If you have not watched that video, then you can watch that first and come back to this particular video. I have pinned the previous video in the I bar. So let's get started. So question 11. A data engineering team needs to query a delta table to extract rows that all meet the same condition. However, the team has noticed that the query is running slow. The team has already tuned the size of the data files. Upon investigation, the team has concluded that the rows meeting the condition are sparsely located throughout each of the data files. Now, based on the scenario, which of the following optimization technique could speed up the query? Option A is data skipping, B Z ordering, bin capping, write a Sparky file, tuning the file size. The query is running very slow. Okay, so they want to speed up this query and they have already tuned the size in the data files. Okay, they have done somewhere conditions. So data skipping is already done. They have done the bin packing because they have tuned the data files. But now the rows meeting that condition are sparsely located. So how exactly we would tune that? So that can be done by Z ordering. What Z ordering will do based on that where condition, it will go ahead and order the particular file and release the file from, for example, 10 files to 2 files, right? And it will be doing an ordering of those files and the size of the files will also get reduced. So the correct answer in this particular thing is Z ordering. If you want to know more about this, read the optimization techniques that are used in Databricks. It's very useful and this is one of the major questions asked in the Databricks certification. Now let's move on to the next question. That is, a data engineer needs to create a database called Customer 360 at the location Customer 360. The data engineer is unsure if one of their colleagues has already created the database. Which of the following should the data engineer run the complete task? Read out the example and think of the answer that you are getting. You can also mention it in the comment section and then re-verify when I'm explaining this particular answer. If you will see, the first option is create database, the database name and the location name. Then you have create database if not exist. Create database if not exist and the location. Create database if not exist, the database name, the delta location. Create database with the database name and delta location. So what is the correct syntax of this? It says create database. If actually the database already exists, this is going to throw an error. So this is ruled out. And create database if not exist. Okay. So it will go ahead and create the database customer 360, but it doesn't specify which location it is, right? Create database if not exists customer 360 location, it provides the path. This seems to be correct. Now create database if not exists with delta location. This is not required. Now create database with this and this. Here if not exists is not there. So this is also not correct because it will fail if in case the database already exists. So if you see, all of them are eliminated and one is selected here, which is actually the right answer. To the next question. A junior data engineer needs to create Spark SQL table, my table, for which Spark manages both the data and the metadata. The metadata and data should also be stored in DBFS. Which of the following commands should a senior data engineer share with junior data engineer to complete this task? You have to keep in mind a junior data engineer actually needs to create a Spark SQL table, okay, which actually manages both data and the metadata, and it needs to be stored in the DBFS file system. Create table, my table, using the particular org and option. Then create manage table, the table name using this. Create manage table, my table. Create table, my table, the ID is string values using DBFS. Create table, my table, and this. Think about it. Let me in the comment section what will be the correct answer for this. So the correct answer here is actually not, because you don't have to provide the Apache Spark here because it's by default. You don't have to actually provide this also because it also has the same. You don't have to provide the keyword create manage table also. Then you don't have to create table using DBFS, right? The correct answer here is basically E, which is actually create table, your table, and you have to give the particular ID and the value. As a data engineer wants to create a relational object by pulling data from two tables. The relational object must be used by other data engineers in other sessions. In order to save on storage costs, the data engineer wants to avoid copying and storing physical data. Which of the following relational objects should the data engineer create? View, temp view, delta table, database, and sparse SQL table. So in this question, evaluator actually wants to know, do you know what is the difference between a table, a view, a temporary view, a delta table, a database, and SQL? And whether basically view stores the physical data or not, whether the temporary view stores the physical data, or whether the database or delta table stores the physical data or not. So mainly you have to focus on it needs to create a relational object, right? And the relational object are actually used in other and in order to save on the storage and cost, because you need to also save on storage cost, which is one of the major factors by data engineers have looked at, then you have to avoid the copying and storing of the physical data. Spark SQL table actually stores the data. It doesn't store the copy or physical data, right? Basically, it has the physical data, it doesn't avoid it. Data which actually has the tables. Then we have delta table, also has the data in it, right? And the temporary view. This is a view basically which doesn't have the data, physical data. It's actually an abstraction on the top of the table. But this cannot be used by different engineers in other sessions, right? So you have to keep in mind this also. So this cannot be used. So the only thing that we are left with is basically the view. So basically view can be used in different sessions by different data engineers, and it's basically a copy of the data on the top of the table. So it doesn't actually stores the data, but it's actually is an abstraction on the top of the table. Let's see the question 50. A data engineer team has created a series of tables using Parquet data stored in an external system. The team is noticing that after appending new rows to the data in the external system, the queries within the Databricks are not returning the new rows. The identify the caching of the previous data as the cause of this issue. Which of the following approaches will ensure that data returned by queries is always up to date? The table should be converted in Delta format. Table should be stored in cloud-based external system. Table should be refreshed and write in cluster before next query is run. The table should be altered to include the metadata to not cache. The table should be updated before the next query is run. So think of the answer, what could be it, put it in the comment and go back to this video and I will explain you what is the correct answer. So basically what they are looking for is it is in the parquet data, okay? And then they are appending the new rows, but they are not able to see those new rows while they are querying the data. So which of the following approach will ensure data returned by queries is always up to date? If you are storing it in the cloud-based external system, it will not make any difference. If you are actually putting it into the cluster and actually refreshing the tables, that will also not make any difference. If you are actually altering it to actually not to cache, that doesn't make sense. Then you have the next queries run, then table should be updated. How many times will you update the table? So in this case, the most efficient way that Databricks provides is if you do a Delta format, it actually go ahead and create a log directory in which all the operations are stored, right? And using that only, you will get all the data in table and you can query the table with the last commit that has been actioned on. Let's move on to the next question. A table customer location exists with the following schema: ID, date, city, and country. A senior data engineer wants to create a new table from this table using the following command. A junior data engineer asks why schema is not declared for the new table. Which of the following response explains why declaring the schema is not? So here, basically in this question, they are evaluating whether you know about the CTAS statement or not. Okay. So what does the CTAS statement do? How does it behaves? right? So in the CTAS statement, remember you don't have to mention the schema. Like in the normal create table statement, you mention the column name and the data type of it. In the CTAS statement, it's not mentioned because you are selecting it from the table. So whatever schema of this particular table is, it is going ahead and replicating in this particular table itself. So that's how basically the CTAS statement works. So let's go with the solution. So as we discussed, it actually adapts the schema detail from the source table as well as the query, because query means it has a count star, right? What will be the count star data type? It will be derived from this particular query itself, but it doesn't actually scan the data. Okay, it doesn't infer the schema by its own, and it is actually not optional. It is not actually gives a string type by default, and it actually supports a schema. Basically, it is from the source table and the query. If you like this video, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to share it with your friends who need it.
Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.